What's happening, financial coaches? Peter here. I want to talk to you about the best financial coach training that is available. Well, there are some pretty good financial coach trainings out there. There are some pretty mediocre ones as well. But I am going to qualify what I'm about to tell you here. And this is a practical training that I don't have anything to do with this. I've attended it. I thought it was great. And what I want to talk about is the reason I think it's great is not because it is the best training out there. It's not because it's the most comprehensive. It's because I think for the amount of effort, time, for the experience and for the cost, it is probably the best compact package for financial coaches that I can think of. Okay. Because everyone's trying to balance things, right? When I took the AFCPE AFC certification, you're talking about a few $1,000. I traveled to San Diego to do the review class and take the test and attend the symposium, and so it's expensive, right? It's good, you learn a lot, but it's expensive. And what I think most people are trying to figure out, especially when you're new, is how can I pay less than thousands of dollars? How can I maybe be in the hundreds of dollars and kind of get the meat of what I need? Now, what I want to bring up here is that the University of Wisconsin-Madison, I think it's the extension, has an extension called the Center for Financial Security. I've got the website up here. I will try to link to it in the description below, but it's extension.wisc.edu. And you can just probably Google it too. Financial Coaching Strategies, University of Wisconsin-Madison. And they are based in Wisconsin, which isn't that far from me. And that's one of the reasons that I went to it, because I was a little skeptical about how good it was. And in fact, when I was looking at some of the things online, they had some videos. I didn't think that they were that great. They had some like coaching simulation videos on YouTube. And, I wasn't all that impressed. Some of the financial coaching I was doing was already more nuanced than that, and I think more proactive in many ways. And so I was a little worried, but I thought, you know what? I've spent money on these other trainings, which I thought are good, and I've spent money on other trainings that I didn't think were great. I'm going to spend some money and go to this. And I actually went with another financial coach friend of mine. We had a great time because the sessions end, and then you can do a little personal debrief and planning after hours. But I did this up in Milwaukee, so they do it in different locations in Wisconsin, unfortunately only, but I definitely think it's worth it if you have the opportunity to go. And now what the training is called is the A4. So A as an alpha, and then the number 4, financial coach training. And I believe they do this training in person twice a year, a spring and a fall session. Now, during the shutdown, that's probably a little bit different, but I am assuming that maybe next spring, maybe even this fall, they'll have another session. I think the fall session, I guess the fall session looks like on the website here is canceled, but stay tuned for the spring one. And they're in person. So they're usually 2 full days, let's call it like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days back to back, a Monday and a Tuesday. So for those of you that are out of towners, you probably have to fly in the night before, get a hotel. They usually try to do their best to keep the costs as low as possible. In fact, when I attended, it was in a United Way conference room, or a large conference room, almost like a gymnasium. And there were maybe 40 people there, 40 or 50, no more than 50. It was a pretty small group. And that's one of the things I liked about it. And they had 2 organizers from University of Wisconsin-Madison that kind of led it. They handed off on sessions. And what I really liked about this is that, one, it's financial coaching. So it's not financial counseling and then take some of these lessons and adapt on financial coaching. It's not health or wellness coaching and take some of these lessons and adapt on financial coaching. It's one of the few trainings out there that really is financial coaching. In fact, my AFC credential and my CPFC credential are both financial counseling, which I think are pretty analogous. But this one really talks about coaching. And I love that because there are a lot of similarities. The broad strokes are very similar, but they do take some stuff that is very specific to coaching. And I like the idea that they were in there. It's actually the first place that I heard people explicitly use the term duty to warn, right? How proactive are we in coaching sessions? Because coaching is usually thought as passive, right? Listening, processing, reflecting back. And so they kind of talked about that, what you have to balance. And I really liked that. The 2 people there were great academics. They had a lot of first world experience and firsthand experience, I should say, firsthand experience of actually doing some coaching. And they led the sessions. They do some instruction. Then they have some kind of quick exercises that you might do on your own, and then some table exercises. So you might be at a table with 5 or 6 other people, and you kind of do some role playing, you do some question and answer. And I thought they all were great. What I didn't think was anything was just fluff. Sometimes you go to conferences and you're doing some silly things, and stretching that doesn't really do anything for your program. It's good health wise, but it's not really kind of feeding you with the fire hose of information of what you need. And so they do a really good job of being respectful of your time, right? The limited time that you have, and jam packing the time with really useful information. Now, I won't say it's overwhelming. You can be a brand new coach to this, and it doesn't necessarily feel like you're getting lost or they're moving ahead. A lot of people there were hired for the first time as a financial coach or a counselor. A lot of them were working for agencies. A lot of them are going to work with a very similar population, people who are struggling, right? People who are trying to triage financial problems. And so they're just trying to kind of look for ways to get into it with people down and dirty. What do we need to do? How can we get you on your feet? We might only have 1 or 2 sessions, and that's all that you're going to be around for. Or maybe that's all your job is going to allow, right? So a lot of people are looking for quick wins. And that's great, because I think for me, it was a great opportunity to see the different levels of interaction these coaches and counselors are going to have with people, right? It's not always a situation where, like, hey, subscribe to my program for 3 months and then we'll meet every Thursday evening, right? A lot of times it's just not that neat. And so sometimes you just have to roll with the punches, and that's the real world. So I loved hearing some of these other perspectives. In fact, at my table, we also had a person who wasn't going to be working with anyone, but she was going to be developing resources for coaches. So she really wanted to know what coaches were seeing on the ground. So great different perspectives, some different ideas there. I would also say that the cost of this was amazing. The registration fee is $245 as of right now, and that's about what I paid, maybe a few bucks difference. I can't remember if it was 235 or something at the time, but you're talking about $245 for 2 full days of training. Again, that doesn't include anything. Now, I want to say, I think they included lunch on both days. So for $245, you're getting 2 full days of training. Lunches on both days. You do get some breaks where if you want to bring your own drinks or snacks, you can do that. Breakfast and dinners are on your own. Lodging, transportation, that's all on your own. So you could easily be in for $1,000, all said and done on this. But for me, like I said, I drove up. I even got a hotel, and in fact, I looked for the cheapest hotel around there. That's also a funny story. But I found the cheapest hotel nearer to where the training was going to be. It was under $100 a night. I drove up, stayed there, grabbed breakfast in the hotel, eat dinner with my friend, and to be honest, I was probably $600 all in by the time the training was over. So I think even at that price point, I think it was just a really good use of my time. In fact, even after class were over or during the breaks, a lot of people would go up. You can ask questions obviously during the sessions, but sometimes, like I said, I didn't want to try to you know ask questions that were ahead of where people were trying to be. For a lot of people, this was their very first training. They hadn't even done financial coaching. At this point in my career, I'd already done coaching for a number of years, and I was able to go up and talk to some of these instructors. And the nice thing about it is they're very well versed. So we could have really productive conversations about kind of the coaching that I was doing, the types of clients I was working with that were actually very helpful, as opposed to kind of being very basic and them not having experience beyond that. So I really like that. I thought the trainers were quite good, as well as the training. And you do get I have a binder of the training booklet. There are some good resources in there. So you get some worksheets, you get some exercises and drills that you can use with clients if you so choose. But a 2-day workshop for a couple $100, and it is for financial coaches. I thought it couldn't be beat. So if you want to look it up, like I said, I'll put a link in the description below, but that is probably one of the few in-person training sessions that I'd really recommend, because you get a lot, and I don't think it breaks the bank. So hopefully that helps. I will talk to you later.